ZZ109FM. This is Elsie Jenkins. It's a beautiful 2025 year. The month is November. And the world is different. It's always been different, but it's different for us because we exist in it with its problems. Lord have mercy. Mm, mm, mm. I'm here in the studio today. We're doing a special edition. Special edition to let you know exactly what's going on in the world specifically. And I think it's important. I think it's very important just to focus on things, because sometimes we get so caught up in everything that we're not learning from these events. Got my coffee here. Gonna put a little vodka in my coffee. We've been drinking coffee with vodka in it lately at ZZ109FM, and I've had about 2 shots. But today I'm gonna have about 6 shots of vodka in my coffee today, because this story we're about to talk about, Lord have mercy. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. When do you remember when you were young? You know, if you're blessed on the planet, you don't have to grow up with trauma in your life. I don't know if it's a small percentage or a large percentage, but there are some young people that don't know trauma at 9 and 10 and 8, 7 and 6 and 5 years old. Some have seen trauma at 4 and 3 and 2, even at 1 years old. It's sad, but it's a fact. But to experience trauma, whether you're the victim or even the suspect causing the trauma at 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, who would expect a 6-year-old to go into a school and shoot a teacher? These numbers are getting lower and lower every time we hear about these types of situations. 6 years old. These lives are forever changed, and for our ears to hear these events, we're forever changed, because in my mind, a 6-year-old's not going to come to school with a gun and shoot his teacher. That's just not going to happen. How is that going to happen? How does a 6-year-old get a gun? Well, this story that I came across recently shows you haven't heard everything yet on this planet. There's much more to hear. There's much more sadness to witness. Everyone here are minors, so we understand. We protect their names, their faces, the information that kind of identifies them. We get it. But the story itself is public information. You can look it up yourself if you like. A 10-year-old girl and a 9-year-old boy, are charged in a brutal attack on a 5-year-old girl. 5 years on the planet. And when I say brutal, I mean I'm talking about adult trauma. Adult trauma applied to a 5-year-old. You would think some adult in a rage of crack cocaine and heroin and fentanyl lost their mind and just did this to the child, not knowing what they were doing. But no, this is a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old children with the ability and knowledge to commit such acts. It's pretty simple. The mother left the child at a family member's home, and if you're gonna leave your child anywhere, you've got to be mindful of that in 2025 more than you needed to be mindful of it in 1980. But nonetheless, it's still a risky thing to do. But it just depends on your family members. I mean, sometimes you have a family that is semi-responsible. Um, so it's sometimes it's not the family that you're worried about. It's the neighborhood that the family lives in that may be the potential threat you don't even consider. Um, while the child, the 5-year-old, was at the family member's house, mother wasn't there. The 9 and the 10-year-old attacked. And let's look at the charges here, because the charges speak for themselves as to what happened to the 5-year-old. For whatever reason, we don't have all those pieces of information, but the charges that these two children received are: 1, attempted murder; 4 counts of rape; 2 counts of felonious assault; 1 count of strangulation; and 1 count of kidnapping. I'm not going to repeat those because that's a lot. That is a lot of violence. Now, the 5-year-old, of course, could have died or may have survived. And God has ways of determining what's going to happen to us when we go through these situations. So in this case, this young girl is still alive. So as you go do your research, you'll see there's an interview with the mother, and she describes her child, and her child sounds like a very beautiful young lady before the incident. But after these types of incidents, you can best believe that this young child is going to have post-traumatic syndrome. It's a life-changing event. Anyone that goes through a life-changing event has to deal with the post-trauma. So I looked at the information so far and kind of wonder what transpired, but I'm going to just give you my take on it. When I see how they tore her hair out of her head, that's my first red flag. My second red flag is when I saw how beautiful her braids were, and then I looked at her mother, how beautiful her braids were. I could put 2 and 2 together. There was definitely something about the way the 5-year-old looked that they obviously didn't like. Okay, I understand it. I get it. But why the sexual trauma? Why that step further? That's the part that I'm really, really trying to understand. Kids are kids. Kids like each other, don't like each other. But they don't just go around then after feeling that way about each other, sexually assaulting each other. See, there's more to the story in regards to the 10-year-old and the 9-year-old. And I can tell there's more to the story because when I did my research a little bit further and saw the arraignment for the 10-year-old girl, she's in court by herself and they can't find the parents. And I'm like, how do you cannot find the parents for this 10-year-old girl's arraignment? There's more to this story. Much more. So there you have it. This is a quick, just a quick moment in time as we live in a time where people really don't care. We have a government that's shut down in 2025. We have senators and House of Representative members that are getting paid and buying them groceries for Thanksgiving, preparing for the holidays coming up, decorating their homes, while millions of Americans with anxiety wonder how they're going to make it through the next week. Life goes on. Life goes on. Nothing stops because of incompetence and incompetent people getting paid with college educations. Nothing stops. The life goes on. And within our lives, these kind of things are happening to 5-year-olds on the planet. We'll be returning with the part 2 when we research further this situation. And we're going to keep up with it until we find out how these people are going to deal with a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old. So far, they're talking about competency. Do they know? On court TV, they're talking about one of the commentators is commentating, saying, do they know the difference between right and wrong? Well, first of all, we know they know the difference between wrong. They just prove it by their actions. So that's half of the battle. Now we have to determine, do they know the difference between right? And whether they do or not, these type of situations sometimes bring you to a crossroad where you have to change the rules. In that state at the end of Ohio, you 14 years old before you can receive adult charges. Well, guess what? This situation should lower it down to 10. This is common sense. This is common sense. And when you look at the seriousness of the charges, you obviously see that the assailants here are capable of multiple violations. If it was just one thing, kidnapping, that's another thing. But this is multiple charges here. And this is not by just accident. The child fell off a bicycle and all this stuff happened. This wasn't by accident. This wasn't by accident. ZZ109FM, this is Elsie Jenkins. We'll be back with more information on this. We'll be back with the part 2. We'll talk to you later.